You know that feeling when you think your life is perfectly on track. That was me 3 years ago when Tyler proposed, and I thought I had everything figured out. We had been together for 3 years, and our families were close, especially my younger sister Sophia, who Tyler seemed to adore as much as everyone else did. She was the golden child after all. But sometimes the people you trust most are the ones who can hurt you deepest. What happened on my engagement day changed everything I thought I knew about love, family, and loyalty. Before I dive into what happened that changed everything, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below, and do not forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories. Trust me, you will want to stick around for this one, because what my sister did will shock you. Let me paint you a picture of my family first. I am Christina Martinez, 27 years old, and I have always been the responsible older sister. Growing up in Austin, Texas, our house was always filled with the smell of my mother Linda's cooking and the sound of my father Robert's laughter echoing from his home office, where he managed our small chain of family restaurants. But if I am being honest, most of that laughter was reserved for my sister Sophia. Sophia is 4 years younger than me, and from the moment she could walk, she commanded every room she entered. With her long dark hair that always fell perfectly, and those bright green eyes that seemed to sparkle with mischief, she was undeniably beautiful. More than that, she was brilliant. Straight A student valedictorian, full scholarship to University of Texas. Where I had to fight for every accomplishment, everything seemed to come naturally to her. Do not get me wrong, I loved my sister. But living in her shadow was exhausting. When I graduated college with honors, the celebration lasted one evening. When Sophia got accepted to UT, my parents threw a party that lasted 3 days. When I got my first job at a marketing firm, Dad mentioned it to a few relatives. When Sophia changed her major to pre-med, Mom called everyone in our extended family to share the news. But I thought I had found something that was just mine when I met Tyler Morrison 3 years ago. I was 24, working late at a coffee shop downtown, stressed about a presentation for work the next morning. This tall, gentle man with sandy brown hair and the kindest brown eyes approached my table and asked if I needed help with my laptop, which was making concerning noises. That was Tyler. Always fixing things, always helping. He was 26 then, a software engineer with a startup downtown, and he had this way of making me feel like I was the only person in the room. Our first conversation lasted 4 hours. We talked about everything from our dreams to our fears to our families. When I mentioned Sophia, Tyler listened with genuine interest, but I felt something I had never experienced before. He was more interested in hearing about my life than about my perfect sister. Our relationship grew slowly and beautifully. Tyler would bring me coffee during my lunch breaks, and we would walk around Austin's downtown area talking about our future. He met my family 6 months into our relationship, and while everyone loved him immediately, I noticed he treated Sophia with the same polite friendliness he showed everyone else. Nothing more, nothing less. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had something that was mine alone. The proposal came last December, exactly 3 years after we met. Tyler took me back to that same coffee shop where we first talked, and he got down on one knee right there at my old table. The ring was perfect, a simple solitaire diamond that caught the light beautifully. I said yes before he even finished asking the question. We decided to have our engagement party 6 months later in June, when the Texas weather would be perfect for an outdoor celebration. I wanted everything to be perfect, so I spent months planning every detail. I chose our family's backyard garden for the venue because it held so many childhood memories, and I thought it would be intimate with just 30 close friends and family members. I picked out my engagement dress carefully, a flowing white sundress that made me feel elegant and confident. Tyler chose a navy blue suit that complemented my dress perfectly. We planned the menu together, selecting all our favorite foods and asking Mom to prepare her famous tres leches cake. Everything was falling into place exactly as I had dreamed. Sophia seemed genuinely excited for me during the planning process. She offered to help with decorations and spent several weekends with me making centerpieces and stringing lights in the garden. For once, I felt like we were just sisters working together towards something beautiful. She kept saying how happy she was that I had found such a wonderful man and how perfect Tyler and I were together. The morning of our engagement party, I woke up feeling like the luckiest woman alive. The sun was shining, the garden looked absolutely magical with all our decorations, and Tyler had stayed the night at his apartment so we could have that traditional separation before our big day. I spent the morning getting ready with Mom and Sophia, and for a few hours everything felt perfect. But around 10 in the morning, I came downstairs to grab some orange juice and found Tyler and Sophia talking quietly in our kitchen. They were standing close together, closer than seemed necessary for a normal conversation, and when I walked in, both of them jumped apart like they had been caught doing something wrong. "Oh, hey, babe," Tyler said, his voice higher than usual. "I was just asking Sophia about that surprise you mentioned wanting for today." Sophia nodded quickly, too quickly. "Yes, exactly. We were just discussing how to make today extra special for you." Something felt off about their explanation, but I could not pinpoint exactly what. Tyler had mentioned wanting to do something special, and Sophia had always been good at party planning. Still, there was something about the way they looked at each other, something about how they stepped away from each other when I entered the room that made my stomach flutter with unease. I pushed the feeling down. Today was supposed to be perfect, and I was not going to let my imagination ruin it. The engagement party began at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and at first everything went exactly as planned. Our backyard garden was transformed into something magical. White lights twinkled through the oak trees, round tables covered in crisp white linens dotted the lawn, and the flower arrangements I had spent weeks perfecting added pops of color everywhere. The June weather was absolutely perfect, 78 degrees with a gentle breeze that made the lights dance. Tyler looked incredibly handsome in his navy suit, and I felt beautiful in my white dress as we greeted our guests. My college friends arrived first, followed by Tyler's co-workers and our extended family. Everyone seemed genuinely happy for us, offering warm congratulations and beautiful gifts. For the first hour, I felt like I was living in a fairy tale. But then Sophia made her entrance. I knew she was getting ready upstairs, but I was not prepared for the impact she would have when she finally came down to join the party. She wore a stunning red dress that hugged her figure perfectly and made her dark hair look like silk. The dress was not inappropriate for the occasion, but it was definitely attention-grabbing. Within minutes of her appearance, I noticed conversations shifting toward her. "Sophia, you look absolutely stunning," my Aunt Margaret gushed. "That dress is incredible on you." "Christina, your sister, is just gorgeous," Tyler's colleague mentioned to me. "She could be a model." "Is Sophia single?" I overheard one of Tyler's friends asking another guest. I tried to focus on my own celebration, but it was hard to ignore how quickly Sophia became the center of attention. She moved through the crowd with such natural grace, making everyone laugh with her witty comments and charming everyone with her bright smile. This was supposed to be my day, but I felt myself fading into the background. What bothered me more than the attention Sophia was receiving was how much time Tyler seemed to be spending with her. Every time I looked around, they were deep in conversation. She would laugh at something he said, touching his arm lightly, and he would lean in to hear her better over the music. When I tried to join their conversations, they would include me politely, but I could feel the energy between them. During dinner, I watched from across our table as Tyler and Sophia talked animatedly about some book they had both read. I had never seen Tyler so engaged in conversation with anyone except me. They seemed to have developed inside jokes that I was not part of. When someone proposed a toast to Tyler and me, Sophia raised her glass with enthusiasm, but I caught her and Tyler sharing a look that lasted just a moment too long. The evening continued with dancing and more mingling, but that uncomfortable feeling in my stomach kept growing. I found myself watching Tyler and Sophia more than I was enjoying my own party. They danced together during one of the group songs, and even though it was completely innocent and other siblings and friends were dancing together too, something about the way Tyler looked at her made my chest tighten. Around 8:30, as the sun was setting and casting a golden glow over everything, I realized I needed to get more drinks from inside the house. We were running low on the sangria that everyone seemed to love, and I wanted to make sure our guests were comfortable. I headed inside through the back door, planning to grab the extra pitcher from the kitchen refrigerator. As I walked through our family room toward the kitchen, I heard voices coming from the front living room. The voices were familiar, Tyler and Sophia, and they were speaking quietly, intimately. Something about their tone made me pause instead of calling out to them. Instead, I quietly climbed the back staircase that led to the second floor, where I could see down into the living room from the upstairs hallway. What I saw from that upstairs hallway shattered my world completely. Tyler and Sophia were standing close together near our piano, and they were kissing. Not a friendly peck on the cheek or an accidental brush of lips. They were kissing passionately, desperately, like lovers who had been separated for months. Tyler's hands were in Sophia's dark hair, and she had her arms wrapped around his neck, pressing herself against him. I gripped the hallway railing so hard my knuckles turned white. My entire body began shaking as I watched my fiancé and my sister in an embrace that was anything but innocent. But what I heard next was even worse than what I saw. "I cannot keep pretending anymore, Tyler," Sophia whispered as they broke apart. "I love you too much to keep watching you with her." Tyler cupped her face in his hands. "After tonight we will figure this out," he said softly. "Christina does not have to know yet. We can plan how to handle this properly." "I hate lying to her," Sophia said, but she did not sound like she hated it very much. "But I cannot help how I feel about you." "Neither can I," Tyler replied. "You know I fell for you months ago. This engagement party feels like torture." I felt like I was going to vomit. My legs felt weak, and I had to lean against the wall to keep from falling down. 6 months ago. Tyler said he fell for Sophia 6 months ago. That was exactly when we got engaged. While I was planning our future, he was falling in love with my sister. I do not know how long I stood there listening to them profess their love for each other, but eventually, they separated to return to the party. I waited until I heard the back door close before I made my way downstairs on shaking legs. My mind was reeling with questions. How long had this been going on? Were they sleeping together? Did my parents know? How could Sophia help me plan this party while stabbing me in the back? I looked at myself in the hallway mirror before going back outside. My face was pale, and my eyes looked hollow, but I was not ready to confront them yet. I needed a minute to process what I had witnessed and decide how to handle it. Part of me hoped I had misunderstood, that there was some innocent explanation for what I had seen and heard. But deep down, I knew exactly what was happening. The two people I trusted most in the world were betraying me on what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. I walked back out to the party feeling like I was moving through water. Everything looked the same. The twinkling lights, the happy guests, the beautiful decorations. But my world had completely shifted. I watched Tyler and Sophia rejoin the party separately, both wearing bright smiles that now looked fake and calculated to me. I knew I had to confront them, but I wanted to do it away from our guests. This was still my engagement party, and these people had come here to celebrate with us. They did not deserve to be caught in the middle of the drama that was about to unfold. I took a deep breath and walked over to where Tyler was standing with my cousin Marcus. "Tyler, honey, can I talk to you for a minute?" Inside. I kept my voice as steady as possible, smiling at Marcus. "Just some quick party logistics." Tyler nodded, but I caught the flash of panic in his eyes. He knew. Somehow he knew that I had discovered their secret. We walked into the house together, and I led him to my father's study where we could have privacy. "What did you want to discuss?" Tyler asked, but his voice was strained. I think you know exactly what I want to discuss, I said quietly. I saw you, Tyler. I saw you and Sophia in the living room. The color drained from Tyler's face. He opened his mouth and closed it several times like a fish gasping for air. Christina, I can explain. Explain what exactly? I asked. Explain how you fell in love with my sister 6 months ago. Explain how you have been lying to me while I planned our future. Explain how you kissed her in my family's living room during our engagement party. Tyler sank into my father's leather chair and put his head in his hands. I never meant for this to happen, he said finally. But it did happen, I said. You chose for it to happen. Both of you. I love you, Christina, Tyler said, looking up at me with tears in his eyes. I do love you. But what I feel for Sophia, it is different. It is stronger than anything I have ever experienced. Those words cut deeper than any knife could have. He was not even trying to deny it or fight for our relationship. He was confirming that he loved my sister more than he loved me. How long? I asked. How long has this been going on? We have never slept together, Tyler said quickly. I want you to know that. We have only kissed a few times. Tonight was supposed to be the last time before I figured out how to tell you. How noble of you, I said sarcastically. And when exactly did you plan to tell me? After we got married? After I had your children? I do not know, Tyler admitted. I was hoping my feelings would go away. I was hoping I could make this work with you because I do love you, Christina. You just love her more, I finished for him. Before Tyler could respond, the study door opened and Sophia walked in. She looked beautiful and composed, completely different from the passionate woman I had watched kissing my fiancé 20 minutes earlier. I thought I might find you two in here, she said calmly. Tyler texted me that you knew. I stared at my sister in disbelief. You do not even look sorry. Sophia sat down on the couch across from us, smoothing her red dress. I am sorry you found out this way, she said, but I am not sorry for how I feel about Tyler. This is my engagement party, Sophia. My engagement party. I know, she said quietly, and I hate that it happened today. But Christina, you cannot control who you fall in love with. Tyler and I never planned for this to happen. But you let it happen, I said. You encouraged it. You helped me plan this party while you were stealing my fiancé. I was not stealing anything, Sophia said, and for the first time her voice had an edge to it. Tyler made his own choice. We both did. You are my sister, I said, and I could hear my voice starting to break. You are supposed to love me and support me, not sabotage my relationship. I do love you, Sophia said, but I love Tyler too, and he loves me. What are we supposed to do, ignore our feelings to protect yours? I looked back and forth between them, Tyler sitting in the chair looking miserable, and Sophia sitting confidently on the couch, like she had every right to be there discussing stealing my fiancé. The betrayal was overwhelming, but what made it worse was how entitled they both seemed to feel about it. I cannot believe either of you, I said finally. Tyler, give me my ring back. Right now. Tyler slowly pulled the engagement ring off my finger. His hands were shaking as he placed it in my palm. Christina, please, can we talk about this? Can we figure out some way to work through this? Work through what? I asked. You love my sister more than you love me. You have been lying to me for months. What exactly is there to work through? Maybe we could all sit down as adults and figure out how to handle this situation, Sophia suggested. I mean, we are all family here. I stared at her in complete shock. Family. You think we are family after what you have done? I will always be your sister Christina, Sophia said. Nothing changes that. Everything changes that, I said. I looked at the engagement ring in my hand, the ring Tyler had given me at that coffee shop, where we fell in love, the ring that was supposed to represent our future together. Without thinking, I threw it at Tyler's chest as hard as I could. Take it. Give it to her, since that is what you both clearly want. I walked out of the study and headed straight for the back door. I needed to end this party immediately and get these people out of my house. But first I needed my parents to know exactly what kind of daughter they had raised. I found my parents by the dessert table laughing with my aunt and uncle about something. They looked so happy and proud, completely unaware that their perfect daughter had just destroyed their other daughter's life. Mom, Dad, I need everyone to leave, I announced loudly enough for several nearby guests to hear. The party is over. Christina, sweetheart, what is wrong? Mom asked, immediately concerned. Your golden daughter has been having an affair with my fiancé, I said clearly. Tyler and Sophia are in love with each other, and they have been lying to me for months. So I am calling off my engagement, and I need everyone to go home. The immediate area around us went completely silent. I could see the shock and confusion on people's faces as they tried to process what I had just announced. Mom and Dad looked like they had been slapped. Christina, that cannot be true, Dad said. Sophia would never. Ask her yourself, I said. They are both inside confessing their love for each other and trying to figure out how to handle the situation properly. Tyler and Sophia chose that moment to come outside, probably having heard my announcement from inside the house. Tyler looked completely devastated, but Sophia still held her head high. She walked over to our parents with that same confident stride she had always possessed. Mom, Dad, it is true, Sophia said simply. Tyler and I fell in love. We never meant for it to happen, but we cannot change how we feel. I waited for my parents' outrage. I waited for them to defend me, to tell Sophia how disappointed they were in her to support me in this moment when I needed them most. Instead, my mother walked over to Sophia and pulled her into a hug. Oh, sweetheart, Mom said softly. This must have been so hard for you to keep inside. I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath my feet. Linda, what are you doing? I asked. She betrayed me. She stole my fiancé. Dad put his hand on my shoulder. Christina, I know you are upset, but Sophia cannot help who she falls in love with. These things happen sometimes. These things happen, I repeated. Dad, this is your daughter's engagement party. Your other daughter just stole her fiancé, and you think these things just happen. You are overreacting, Dad said firmly. I know this is painful, but we need to handle this like adults. Sophia and Tyler did not plan for this to happen. But they let it happen, I said. They chose to pursue it while lying to me. Honey, you are being dramatic, Mom said, still holding Sophia. Love is complicated. You cannot blame people for falling in love. I looked around at our guests, who were watching this family drama unfold, with a mixture of fascination and discomfort. Some people were already gathering their purses and saying quiet goodbyes. Others stood frozen, unsure whether to stay or go. I cannot believe what I am hearing, I said to my parents. Your golden daughter stabbed me in the back on the most important day of my life, and you are comforting her. Christina Marie Martinez, Dad said sharply, using my full name like he had when I was a child. That is enough. Sophia is your sister, and Tyler is, well, Tyler will always be part of our family now. You need to calm down and stop causing a scene. Stop causing a scene. My fiancé and sister had been carrying on an affair behind my back, had humiliated me at my own engagement party, and I was the one causing a scene. That was the moment I realized that my family had already made their choice, and it was not me. You are right, Dad, I said calmly. I am causing a scene, so I am going to remove myself from it entirely. I turned around and walked into the house, leaving the party behind me. I could hear voices calling my name, but I did not stop. I went straight up to my bedroom and started packing a suitcase. I did not have a plan yet, but I knew I could not stay in this house for another night. I was throwing clothes into my suitcase when I heard footsteps on the stairs. I expected it to be my parents, or maybe Tyler, but it was my best friend Emma who had driven down from Dallas for the party. Christina, what can I do? Emma asked immediately. I heard what happened downstairs, and I cannot believe it. I need to get out of here, Em, I said. I cannot stay in this house with these people. Come stay with me, Emma said without hesitation. I have that spare room, and you can stay as long as you need to. I cannot go to Dallas, I said. Tyler's company has an office there. I might run into him. Then come to Denver with me, Emma said. I got that transfer. Remember, I am moving there next week for my new job. You could come with me and start completely over. Denver. I had never considered Denver, but suddenly it sounded like exactly what I needed. A new city where no one knew me as Sophia's older sister or Tyler's ex-fiancé. A place where I could figure out who Christina Martinez was when she was not trying to compete with her perfect sister or please her parents. Are you serious? I asked. Completely serious, Emma said. We can drive there together, and you can stay with me until you find your own place. Denver is supposed to be amazing for young professionals. I looked around my childhood bedroom, with its photos of me and Tyler, pictures of my family. Memories of a life that had just been completely shattered. There was nothing left for me in Austin. My family had made it clear where their loyalty lay, and Tyler had made it clear where his heart was. Okay, I said. Let us go to Denver. Emma helped me pack the rest of my things while the party continued downstairs. By 10 o'clock, most of the guests had left, but I could still hear voices in the backyard. Probably my parents and Sophia and Tyler figuring out how to move forward with their new family dynamic. I left a note on my dresser for my parents. I am moving to Denver. Do not contact me until you are ready to apologize for choosing Sophia over me. Maybe someday you will realize that loving someone does not mean letting them hurt other people. I hope Tyler and Sophia are worth losing your other daughter. Emma and I loaded my car with everything that mattered to me and drove away from my childhood home at 11 o'clock that night. As we pulled out of the driveway, I could see the lights still twinkling in the backyard garden where I had planned to celebrate the beginning of my future with Tyler. Instead, I was driving toward a completely unknown future alone, except for the one friend who had chosen to stand by me when my own family would not. The drive to Denver took 18 hours with stops, and Emma talked to me through most of it, helping me process everything that had happened. By the time we reached Colorado, I felt like I had cried out every tear in my body, and I was starting to feel something I had not expected: relief. For the first time in my life, I was completely free from the shadow of my perfect sister. I did not have to wonder if I was good enough, smart enough, or pretty enough compared to Sophia. I did not have to compete for my parents' attention or approval. I could just be Christina, whoever that turned out to be. Emma's new apartment was in the downtown area, and it was small but beautiful, with huge windows that looked out over the Rocky Mountains. She set me up in her spare bedroom and immediately started helping me figure out my next steps. The first thing I needed was a job. I had been working in marketing for 3 years in Austin, and it turned out that Denver had a booming startup scene. Within 2 weeks, I had 3 interviews lined up. The second interview was with a small marketing agency called Elevation Creative, and I clicked immediately with the team. They offered me a position as a senior marketing coordinator with a salary that was actually higher than what I had been making in Austin. Finding an apartment took a little longer. Denver's rental market was competitive, but after 6 weeks of searching, I found a perfect 1-bedroom apartment in the Capitol Hill neighborhood. It was on the 3rd floor of an old Victorian house that had been converted to apartments with hardwood floors, big windows, and a view of the mountains from my bedroom. For the first time in months, I felt excited about something. The first few months in Denver were difficult. I missed the familiarity of Austin, and there were days when I felt incredibly lonely. I had not talked to my parents since the night I left, despite several voice messages from them asking me to come home so we could work things out. I deleted every message without listening to the whole thing. Tyler called me exactly once about a month after I moved. I let it go to voicemail, and when I finally listened to his message, he was crying and telling me how sorry he was and how much he missed me. He said Sophia had decided she needed space to figure out her feelings and that he realized he had made the biggest mistake of his life. I deleted the message and blocked his number. But slowly Denver started to feel like home. My co-workers at Elevation Creative were amazing, and they welcomed me into their group immediately. I started going out for drinks after work and joined their weekend hiking group. Colorado's outdoor lifestyle was completely different from what I was used to, but I discovered that I loved being in the mountains. 6 months after moving to Denver, I started seeing a therapist named Dr. Sarah Wilson. I had been feeling angry all the time, angry at Tyler and Sophia and my parents, and I knew that carrying around that much anger was not healthy. Dr. Wilson helped me understand that my family had been in a toxic pattern for years, always prioritizing Sophia's needs over mine, and that what happened with Tyler was just the most extreme example of a dynamic that had existed my whole life. You spent your entire life trying to earn love that should have been given freely, Dr. Wilson told me during one of our sessions. What happened with Tyler was not about you not being enough. It was about him and Sophia being selfish, and your parents being unwilling to hold their golden child accountable. Those therapy sessions changed everything for me. I started to understand that I had been measuring my worth by other people's approval my entire life, and that I needed to learn to value myself independently of what anyone else thought of me. I also started making real friends for the first time in years. In Austin, most of my friends had been college friends, or people I knew through Tyler. In Denver, I met people who knew me only as Christina, the funny marketing coordinator, who was great at organizing hiking trips and making people laugh. I particularly became close with my coworker Jennifer, who had been through her own difficult divorce and understood what it was like to rebuild your life from scratch. The best revenge is a life well lived, Jennifer told me one evening when we were having wine on my apartment balcony. And Christina, you are definitely living well. She was right. 8 months after moving to Denver, I had been promoted to marketing manager at Elevation Creative. I had a beautiful apartment, amazing friends, and hobbies that made me happy. I was hiking every weekend, had joined a book club, and was even taking salsa dancing lessons on Thursday nights. The anger that had consumed me for the first few months after the engagement party had transformed into something much healthier gratitude. I was grateful that I had found out about Tyler and Sophia's betrayal before I married him. I was grateful that their selfishness had forced me to leave Austin and discover how much I loved living in Denver. Most of all, I was grateful that I had finally learned to value myself. Emma, who had become my roommate again when her lease was up, kept me updated on the drama back in Austin. Tyler and Sophia had dated for exactly 3 months after I left, before Sophia decided she wanted to get back together with her ex-boyfriend Marcus. Tyler was apparently devastated and had been trying to contact me through mutual friends, but I had made it clear that I was not interested in hearing from him. My parents had also tried to reach out several times, but their messages always followed the same pattern. They acknowledged that the situation had been difficult, but wanted me to come home so we could put this behind us as a family. Never an apology for choosing Sophia over me. Never an acknowledgement that what she had done was wrong. Never any accountability. Your parents are asking about you, Emma told me one evening. They want to know if you will be home for Christmas. Denver is my home now, I said simply. And until they are ready to truly apologize for what they allowed to happen, I have nothing to say to them. It had been almost a year since the engagement party when I met David. He was a park ranger for the Colorado State Park System, and we met during a group hiking trip to Rocky Mountain National Park. David was tall and lean, with kind blue eyes and the most genuine smile I had ever seen. He was also completely different from Tyler in every way that mattered. Where Tyler had been intense and sometimes moody, David was calm and steady. Where Tyler had been impressed by Sophia's beauty and charm, David was attracted to my independence and sense of humor. Where Tyler had made me feel like I was competing for his attention, David made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. We had been dating for 3 months when I finally told him the whole story about Tyler and Sophia and my family. I was nervous about how he would react, worried that he would think I was damaged or carrying too much baggage. Instead, David listened to the entire story without interrupting, and when I was finished, he said, "I am so sorry that happened to you, but I am also grateful because if it had not happened, you would not be here with me." That night, I realized that I had not just survived the worst betrayal of my life. I had thrived because of it. Tyler and Sophia had inadvertently given me the greatest gift possible. They had forced me to discover my own strength and independence. They had pushed me out of a toxic family dynamic and into a life where I was valued and appreciated for who I really was. The last time I heard anything about Tyler was through a mutual friend who mentioned that he was still single and apparently telling people that losing me was the biggest regret of his life. Sophia had gotten engaged to Marcus and was planning a big wedding that my parents were funding, of course. I felt nothing when I heard that news. No anger, no sadness, no satisfaction. Just a mild curiosity about people who had once been important to me, but were now just characters in a story about the woman I used to be. The woman I am now is stronger, happier, and more confident than the woman who stood in that Austin garden a year and a half ago, trying to make everyone else happy. I have learned that love should never require you to compete for it, and that family should never require you to accept betrayal in the name of keeping the peace. Sometimes the greatest gift life gives you is showing you exactly who people really are. I am grateful for that painful lesson, because it led me to find myself, and ultimately it led me to find real love with someone who values loyalty as much as I do. David and I are talking about getting engaged next year, and when we do, I know it will be with people who genuinely love and support both of us. Sometimes losing everything you thought you wanted is the only way to find everything you actually need. Have you ever had to walk away from toxic family dynamics to protect your own happiness? Let me know in the comments below, because I would love to hear your stories of choosing yourself over keeping the peace. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like and subscribe for more real-life stories about finding strength in difficult situations. And please share this with someone who might need to hear that choosing yourself is not selfish, it is necessary. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to accept treatment that is less than you deserve.